All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ESL Pro League Season 5. We're going into match number 3 tonight. We've got OpTic, we've got NRG. Do we have a barn burner?
We should have a really exciting game, actually. OpTic, we talked about it in the pregame show. They're not really in the spot that they want to be right now. They have issues with their, getting a full 5-man lineup and all that. And NRG on their end, they're, dark horses here.
Well, let's start by taking a look at this OpTic lineup. And you're going to notice something here right away. You do see Peacemaker there in the middle, aside of Tarek Rush, Naf, and Mixwell. Peacemaker, the coach, coming in, obviously, in the absence of what would be Hiko.
Yep.
And as, that story develops on its own, that is a totally different situation. Where Hiko obviously not playing with them any longer.
Yeah, and that's obviously going to affect them. Even though Hiko wasn't a permanent member when he got into OpTic and played Las Vegas with them, or like Katowice, I should say. It's obviously still going to be a step down in the sense that Hiko is a better individual player than Peacemaker. I guess the one benefit that they do get from this is that Peacemaker is going to be their in-game leader while he's standing in, and we know that Peacemaker has done quite a bit of work with all the teams he's been on in the past in terms of just being helpful from a strategical point of view. So that could maybe outset the difference in that they're going to lack in terms of skill.
Well, to pick back up on the story we were speaking about before the game, and it's pretty much quoted when I say Stan leaving
killed the team.
Killed the team. Like,
yeah.
Is that what happened here? How much of a setback is that for this OpTic lineup?
It's a massive one because good in-game leaders in North America are hard to come by. So when you lose the guy who's regarded as the best in-game leader in the region, you're going to scramble to pick up the pieces. And again, we mentioned the fact that there's not really too many people who are available in that sense who are able to play at the level that OpTic obviously want to be at, because they're coming in from the end of 2016 having great results, being the flag carrier for NA really in many ways, and that's where they want to get back into. So I don't think first off, it's not going to be good for their confidence to go on into a long slump, but I also think that might create some more tension for guys like Mixwell, who has been reported to be already like a tiny bit homesick.
Okay, well, let's switch it over now to the NRG lineup, and we do have a little bit of a change here. We do see Daps on the board. However, Daps will not be playing. We'll have Mr. Andrew Heinz, a.k.a. Professor Chaos, stepping in his place due to, I guess, lag.
Yeah, that's it.
It would be
internet issues on Daps' end, which is unfortunate for NRG because obviously we've mentioned the fact that NRG are a bit of a dark horse in this season to actually make top 6. And OpTic obviously having their issues of their own, this would have been a prime time for NRG to grab a victory or maybe 2 maps versus one of the teams you'd assume making the top 6 at the start of the season. So this is obviously going to be a bit of a spanner in the works for NRG, but hopefully they'll have something prepared with Professor Chaos on the lineup. But he has just recently been announced as their coach as well.
Now, Professor Chaos, no stranger to the scene either. Like,
no.
He's competed in a major. He's played with Splice. Like, he's been around. He's been playing for a while. But the best thing that NRG could have done in this situation is to kind of kick them when they were down instead of also join them in being down.
Yeah, that's very true. But this is a situation they find themselves in. There's not really a lot they can do. I think what they have to do is pretty much cross their fingers and hope that he brings the pain or brings the chaos, really.
You know who always brings the pain?
Who does?
DeBears. And DeBears is about to bring us some energy on Cash Pain. What you got for us, Eric?
Thanks, guys. We're going to take a look at NRG versus Team Liquid and Cash. Now, this is a very important round for Team NRG. They're down 7-14, and they had to find a way to start winning, or they won't come back in this match. You see Peters is lurking around middle. He does his Peter thing, opping places, whatever. But right here, take a look at this run boost. Now, it looks pretty cool, but one of the reasons why a lot of teams don't use this run boost anymore, because right now in the meta, on T defaults, we have a lot of people playing towards this anti-flash spot in T middle, or not T middle, A main, where they can listen for that run boost. Because when you do a run boost, it makes a specific jump land sound, and it's very loud. And so that's why you see a lot of teams do it silently by kind of lurking in the smoke, but they are down 7-14. They had to do something, so they're like, why not? Let's risk it. Team Liquid, they're a slow team anyways. Maybe they won't hear it, and it does pay off because Team Liquid was nowhere in the area. It works off. Markey eventually gets 2 huge kills on that spot, and this round really started the momentum for the comeback, and eventually NRG wins in overtime. So, I mean, a lot of props to Team NRG. No one expected them to be doing this well, but I think they're a very underrated team, and they can pull up some upsets in the future. Back to you, Stunna.
Thank you, Eric. Look, so we're going to see these teams battle it out. We're going to see them battle it out on Cash, and then we're going to go over to Train.
Yeah.
And just kind of focusing on Cash at this point, who is in the more disadvantaged situation right now?
Well, obviously it's a bit of a curveball, the fact that NRG have to play with their coaches as well. I guess that kind of evens the playing field overall, but in my notes, I had Cash as NRG's best chance of grabbing a win. And I think I'm going to stick with that as well. It's going to be a bit of a hassle to maybe drag around Professor Chaos with them, but I think if they're going to have a chance at doing this, it's going to be on Cash. And I think we're going to have to see a monster performance from a guy like Peter for this to come through.
No, absolutely. And this could be, I guess, a comparable situation to what we just talked about with SK, right?
Yeah.
Where SK obviously has the players and the talent and the firepower. Do either of these teams kind of have that same sort of sentiment?
Well, not in the same one that I would say one of the teams overpower them in the same degree that SK would Luminosity. I think it's more of an even situation here. But overall, on paper, I still favor OpTic in the terms of just skill favoring them. But the downside really is the fact that they don't necessarily play Cash as much as NRG does, and that's where the advantage NRG had really was going into this before the bit of a hiccup with Daps' internet.
Internet hiccups, man, those are the worst.
They are.
You can never really truly get rid of the internet hiccups. Hell, it's hard enough to get rid of the real ones. So.
That's true.
NRG coming into this one 4-2, OpTic coming in at 5-1. Obviously, NRG needed this. OpTic desperately needs it because, they're going to have a rough and tough road going ahead.
Yeah, then that's the big thing as well. So for NRG, it's important, obviously, because they want to stabilize themselves towards the top of the league, and so they can afford to have losses versus a team like Cloud9 or a team like SK or Immortals, that kind of thing, right? And if you beat a team like OpTic, then you've kind of built a cushion for yourself. OpTic, on the other hand, they've started off great, but as you said, with them not having a steady fifth in that roster, they're going to be having a couple of rough weeks ahead until they can actually find a fifth that they want to play with and work off of and build with into the future. So they're going to need every win that they can at this point.
All right, well, it is that time. We're going to jump into Cash here with OpTic and NRG. Blue, take it from here.
The perpetual Cash hell continues here in North America as we're back at it again.
What's the second map, though?
Don't know off the top of my head.
Train?
Train, okay. So
that's
finally
a new
something
one.
different.
That is awesome.
I don't think we've played Train on the stream yet. It's like Train and Nuke are, I think, the two that we've missed. I don't think we've had a Nuke game either yet.
I think we played Nuke.
Did we?
I think so, yeah. But Train, I'm not sure if we've seen yet.
That one's
it's just always Cash and Cobble.
Yeah.
That's all I know. It's always Cash.
We escaped the Cobble part for at least one of the games tonight. But yeah.
No, but Cash is cool. I think this is going to be a good game. Both teams kind of on equal footing. I'm not sure about Peacemaker's, experience as an individual. NRG might have an advantage there because Professor Chaos, I know, can, he's a pretty good player. I'm sure he still plays.
It's been a while though since he's actually been in an official match though.
True, but I'm sure he still plays and he's played at a very, very high level. Being at a major and whatnot with Splice. Having said that though, it's gonna probably hurt OpTic a lot having Peacemaker, fill in, and I don't know what OpTic's gonna do, man.
Well,
what's their game plan? Not for this game, but I'm saying as far as future concerned, it's so rough out there because everybody's under contract, and so anybody you want to get, it's almost like your org has to talk to their org. It's like it's like even if the players want to play with each other, org's got to talk to each other and make things happen.
Well, OpTic seem to be going pretty well so far as Mixwell grabs a double and Tarek picking up a third. Breezy is able to respond with 2 of his own, but he pretty quickly gets knocked out by Naf after that though. The bomb sitting down in A main before. OpTic should know this, but the problem is they don't have the aggression inside, so they're just going to gamble stack here 3 on A. And Fugly, well, he's created himself a corner to play with, but he won't be able to hold it. Rush moves in, takes takes him down, and it's OpTic to take the pistol. The other thing I think the analyst mentioned, and I think Thorin brought it up a couple days ago in a tweet too, is that, okay, you know, Mixwell, his contract may be running up soon with OpTic, and since he's shown himself, yeah, I mean, he's been on the team for almost a year now, and usually those contracts run for a year. So you have to think, since he's really established himself, if he might end up on a European team, actually, they might just try to get back over to Spain.
That would be devastating for Rush, Tarek, and Naf. I mean, Mixwell is... I think the guy's incredible. I think he's one of my favorite players to watch. I think he's so impactful. I mean, we just saw right there on that piston round as they pop flash name main and send Tarek and Mixwell in there and just do work, right? But you know, Mixwell's a pretty incredible player. So I hope that doesn't happen. I like him on OpTic. I like him in North America. And you know, these guys just they're one player away from being a very, very good team, you know? So hopefully they can find somebody.
Well, they did start off with the victory here, so let's not hark on their issues too much. As now we take a look at what NRG will be doing in their second round as they do go for their force-up. And it's looking like they're going to try to get out to mid, but it's a very hesitant sort of mid-aggression here, and more watching to see if the CTs will push them than the other way around. So they lose Professor Chaos when he finally tries to swing out for a peek, and the rest are slowly shifting into those B halls. Still a minute on the clock. Time is not an issue, but in comes Mixwell, and he actually looks to the ground there to see what the gunpowder that was sitting there was. But so PTR is going to be able to actually trade him out as he wasn't really paying attention. Goes down to a 4v4, and that will be an upgrade for free going on to Peter too. He may probably toss it over to another teammate since he doesn't have armor, but we'll see in a moment. As now, pressure also works its way in and catches Peacemaker off guard. So they are getting themselves into a couple nice situations here. Tarek also very low, so he is only going to be able to chain together 1-2. And now it's a 3v2 retake in the favor of NRG.
Yeah, the nades by NAF don't connect at all either. And PTR underneath the vents. And 2 kills on the round already with no armor. But not able to get that third. Now Marky and Breeze both in the site. Breeze pops up over the smoke. Those nades did not do a thing though from NAF. They planted close default, like in front of the box, completely safe. Not where he thought they were going to plant. If they had planted you know, that normal spot where you could see it from under vents, it would have done a lot of damage. But now OpTic, after winning that pistol, bit of a mistake by Mixwell to get a little bit too aggressive in mid there, pretty unnecessary in that 5v4. I think if he just plays around the vents, you know, that's probably enough to secure any type of B round, because then you'd have that triangle, right? You'd have the guy back a B, you'd have the guy site, and you'd have a guy vents. Nobody's going to take B in that situation.
Peter just ducking his head down in the corner to counter out the aggression from OpTic in A main, but we actually aren't really going to be seeing a whole lot of it. Rush looked like he was going to try to test it, but then changed his mind. And beyond that, everything else is pretty quiet on the map here. Just a few nades being tossed out by NRG, as now they have the advantage, and is OpTic going for the force. And well, we'll see this A main action come to fruition in a moment here, as the OpTic guys do try to go for it, but they're getting pinched on by Squeaky as well. Rush forced into the action. He does pick up a first kill, looking for more. It does put Breezy back, but put in the cage, he will be able to respond, knocking out Rush, taking him down. Naf has to fall back, but he's tagged to 50 on the way back behind the red box and playing into the site. So he goes back into the smoke, spots Buckley in the corner, unsuccessful in taking him down. Tarek able to tag one of them with a scout as he plays in the truck position and waits for Peacemaker to regroup with him. But still, it's ultimately NRG that has control over this one. And unless there's a big slip up by them, this is just going to be OpTic falling back now to save, so we won't even see the chance for that. OpTic are just going to prioritize taking those guns into the next round, and they'll hand the second one over to NRG.
Yeah, they will. They'll probably try to save here. And I do think whenever you have a, you know, a stand-in, I said it on Cobble as well, I think the CT side is a lot harder with the stand-in. I think on T side you could use a stand-in and you know, make things work a lot better. Especially on a map like Cache where it's pretty open, you know, but on CT side it can be really, really difficult because you find yourself kind of leaning over towards them a little bit more than you probably should, you know, and maybe trying to get a little bit more aggressive than you probably should, and putting yourself in positions that, you know, because you're worried like maybe they don't have the chemistry over at that other side or whatever.
So this takes us into the full save for OpTic, as unfortunately they are just not going to have anywhere close to the amount of cash needed to try and go for something here. They do have the saves.
Mixwell taking his 5-7, but then giving it back because he doesn't have any armor.
Tarek will keep the scout, however, safely tucked in his hands. And as we take a look at NRG, again, not really going to be trying to force the issue or try to play too quickly, just keep into the usual game plan, lining up for this default and running the timer down a little bit before they eventually group up and go for some sort of probably pretty straightforward execute on this round.
Yeah, maybe a default until like an A molly take is a very, very common anti-eco on Cash. They do have 4 players over here, OpTic Gaming does, but it's still something that's very hard to stop. So they have 3 there throwing out the mollies. Pete running out, so he's going to be able to spot along with Breeze. Bad smoke at Highway, and he sees 3 here, so they might just run bomb towards B, but it is an A, and they just get the kills. So Peacemaker stuck in checkers, nowhere near the action, not much for him to do here besides maybe look for an exit. And yeah, it's a very, very common anti-eco. It's so hard to stop, even if you know it's coming, when you just really don't have the firepower. And they just Molotov fork, the Molotov quad and fence, and it's like the only spot you can play is sight or truck wall. And they know that, so they spam the smoke towards truck wall, and also any pop flash towards sight is just going to catch you. It's such an easy frag.
Yeah, so a relatively easy round there for NRG to follow through on, so they now have a decent lead set up for themselves, but first time that it's really going to be tested is going to be happening right here since OpTic now comes back in with the buy. Problem for OpTic, though, is that, again, their buy is, you know, the bare minimum, too, of what they bring to the table. They've got the M4s. In fact, Peacemaker is still in a FAMAS, and in terms of utility, again, it's the same thing here. They've only got smokes on it, and they've already used essentially all of their smokes. 3 to 5 of them have dropped them already, including Naf and Tarek, but they still have the flashbangs and whatnot, but still, a lot of this being deployed within the first, 5 seconds of the round as soon as they get to the sites to try and stop NRG from doing a quick play. Good news is it does work, as NRG do have 4 players lined up here towards B, so it is going to make this push a little bit more difficult, but now Mixwell up on top. He spotted them pushing back in, but now he's actually got to get into this fight. 1 for 1 on the way in. Mixwell chiming in for a second. Breezy trying to spray in towards checkers there, but that just gives him away, so it lets Peacemaker find one. Mixwell gets traded up by Peter, but now Naf on top just unloads and unfortunately gives himself away to Fugly. 2v2, now 2v1 as Fugly finds another frag. It's Rush looking to clutch. Thankfully, both the remaining NRG members are low, though. He's going to go in, immediately find one. The pop flash from down below, it connects, but he misses the chance at a kill. So Fugly will be given time to recover from the flashbang, and dropping down, Rush still follows through with the connection, and it's OpTic that'll follow through with 2.
Yeah, but you know what? Look at NRG's money, look at their buy, and what's going to be OpTic's buy. It's going to be a very, bad buy for OpTic. I mean, they're going to have SMGs, a Scout Mag 7, and an SMG with 2 M4s, or an M4 and an AK. And NRG lost the round in the most perfect fashion, besides getting the bomb down. You know? They killed 4 of them, they only lived with 1 alive, and now this is where NRG can take a huge lead in this game. They already won a huge swing round in second round, and this is another swing round. So if they can win here, it's going to be a very tough task for OpTic Gaming to win this half.
They try to gauge aggression in the B halls there, but unfortunately NRG never even really fully committed themselves to it. They just had a couple guys trying to toss a few nades in and whatnot. It did bait out the flashbang from Peacemaker. He still has 1 more if he wanted to play it staying in that position, but it seems he's gone away from it. He is still, and this is what's really weird, is he's going to be the solo B player with a Mag 7 to play with, hiding over there in the corner by the pipes or the mini pit. So leaving a lot of that open. If NRG decides to swing back into the original plan, which was to go into those B halls, it's going to work out really badly for them. Professor Chaos even striking first here when they try to counter boost Mixwell. And the rest of the team, it does look like they're going to be heading over towards A, so they won't have to deal with that Peacemaker issue, but still already having the advantage. Good news is damage was traded back a little bit onto Professor Chaos and Peter as they got them down at 7 and 28 HP respectively. Here we go, though, with about 40 seconds left, somewhere between the 30 and 40 marks, but we can't expect the execute. What? Naf just taps in there? He not only taps one guy through the wall a little bit lower, but he also finishes off Marky as well. So now Professor Chaos is going to go down. Naf looking for another kill here. Let's see if he can pick it up. Some good stuff from him already. There's even more to be found if he sticks around, but this could prove to be a bit over-aggressive. He's now down at 2 HP, hit by the flashbang. Breezy finally hits him down to the ground, but it's still even. We still have the fight being really in neither team's side, and as they do roll out, Breezy's going to get hit by a flashbang. Now has to hold off his push for a few moments. Fugly finding that kill. They push into Tarek, where he tags in for 1. At the last man alive is Peacemaker, and that's when that shotgun problem comes right back in as Peter sinks the final kill and allows for NRG to completely break OpTic.
Yeah, and the reason Naf is shooting there, even though it's back, no, is because a lot of the time before the flash comes, you shoot your gun, maybe the guys don't turn away. So he's just shooting his gun to try to get their attention and hope they don't turn away. But yeah, I mean, everything pointed towards an OpTic round win there. They knew exactly what they were doing. but the reason he couldn't fall back all the way is because Breeze was in the door kind of just holding him and holding him, so he was kind of stuck in between Forklift and a main. He did his part though. He did a ton of damage. He did damage not only to Breeze, killed 1 or 2, and also did damage to Pete. OpTic just the real reason they lost that round is because Rush at quad got mollied out and had to peek too early, so they just guessed right, threw a molly quad at him, and he wasn't able to get a kill. That was like what they were banking on to win that round.
Well, they're going to boost back up, but Nath is waiting. He hasn't spotted Fugly yet. Again, he hasn't peeked towards it. And actually, excuse me, Fugly is inside on the boost up there, not on the outside. The outline threw me off a little bit, so it's still clear for Nath, which means he may have an opportunity.
There's got to be a better way to clear that, though. I mean, you got to be able to like wall that with an op or something. I mean, everybody does that now, where you just sit up there on the top left. I feel like it should be so easy to kill him, not just throw a Molotov and push him back, but do something.
Now he's going to move forward and catch a 1-for-1 trade. Professor Chaos getting the better of him, though, before he can do more damage. Knocks off about 1/4 of his HP. And now Rush is going to try to sneak back in here. Keep in mind, again, it's still a very light bot round overall from OpTic. That gun that was sitting there on NAF was probably the only big gun they had. Beyond this, Peacemaker picking up the SMG to play with here. But the rest of the team is going to follow through into the site, where for the most part, it is a quick execution from NRG. Breezy taking down 2 on this site. Rush is working on this flank. He has a good angle. He'll be able to finish off Peter, so doing some damage there, and a great shot from Tarek, too. Knocks out Professor Chaos. Now this is even into a 2v2. Rush to do anything else is where he's going to have some problems, and even Tarek won't have the best of angles to play with here. Rush actually did change up his own position a little bit and work towards Squeaky instead of falling through an A main. Tarek, though, going back up. He's already low at 34 HP. They've swung open the Squeaky door, so they should know that something's coming in from there. Breezy with another to add up to 3 now. 1 more to go against Rush, and they've already heard the door opening. So, oh no! Rush just manages to tap away on a Breezy there. Finds him. Fugly, thankfully, is in check for a quick trade. So it's still NRG's round, but it's a costly one at that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Maybe you could wall bang them from middle. I wonder if you could see the top of their head if you are double boosted on the white truck. That might be like a way that you can clear it. Because, I mean, this is like, you can. Vendetta's telling me that you can. I'm thinking, I'm just wondering why. I mean, we see this. Like, just SK probably used that boost 4 times last half, right? So if you just play for it, it just seems like everybody's constantly doing this, especially on low bot rounds. Like, if you just have a way to kill it, boost on the white truck, it just seems like it could be a really easy way to make it 4v5, and not only make it 4v5, but also know where the other player is. So maybe people will start implementing that more.
Yeah. It's just such a big area, though, so like trying to wallbang through it is...
No, because everybody, if you're on that ledge, it's just that little ledge, right? So if you're on the side of it and you shoot just through that spot, it's always going to be where that is. I don't know if you can wallbang through it, though. I mean, I'm assuming you can, at least with an op.
Pretty sure you can with an op, for sure.
Yeah.
Just with the rifle, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I mean, just like, come on, how often do we cast cash here? Every game we see that boost used like 3 times on every single half. And we see every team use it. I mean, Nip uses it all the time, whenever they play cash too. And it's just like, people would figure out a better way.
Well, NRG getting back into this round here have actually taken very quick mid control, and they have it for free as well. Only Professor Chaos losing 15 HP is the only consequence that they've suffered from it. Keep in mind again that OpTic is on a full save here, so not expecting anything too great from him. Fugly just kind of moving in, executing the usual positions 1 by 1. Marky adding a 3rd to the counter, and it's Naf and Rush that, well, they'll try to do something, but oh, Breezy, okay. I think he hears Naf or something, just tries to spray in that direction, takes him down, and now Rush, well, yeah, there's not really much he can do. It's without question going to be a 6th round for NRG here as soon as the bomb explodes.
Yeah, nothing Rush could really do. He's just looking for any type of an exit that he can get. Looks like Professor Chaos is going to chase him. So we'll see a P250 versus Mac-10 duel in a sec.
Rush is actually... No. They would have heard him drop down there. No, they didn't.
No, he did.
Yeah, so he does wrap back in there. Professor Chaos finishes him off. In theory, he could have gone up to the site, though.
No, because Professor Chaos heard him when he drops, for sure. I don't think he would have been able to defuse at all, especially because they were pretty close B main. You can hear it from where they were, I believe. Because if you're B main, like a little bit to the left, you're actually like closer to the bomb, So he knew he had no chance to ninja defuse and just kind of went for the kill. But now OpTic on another buy, but their buy isn't even good. They don't even have a Molotov. So NRG just in complete control, and they're set up perfectly for this.
The first shot from Peter is going to be a miss, though, so it is a bit of a scrapped fight here in the B halls. 2 for 1 in the favor of OpTic. Peacemaker's going to be happy with that, and he falls back. NRG recover the bomb. They get out of that hot spot. They'll still
And PTR missing that shot was a pretty big deal in this round. It shouldn't have came to that. They had 4 players there. They were ready for that. They just straight peeked. There wasn't even a flashbang or anything. And now Rush, nice kill onto Fugly. And this could be where they could, start getting their momentum back, But they need to not have too many more deaths. That's the main thing here. And if you're NRG right now, I'm probably not even thinking so much about winning the round. I'm thinking about, hey, let me get 1 kill. Let me get the bomb down or something like that, or 2 kills, just to set myself up later in the half.
They actually are trying to...
What are they doing, man?
They're trying to do a boost over top or something like that. It's really weird. Well, they spotted them doing it, so they should know that they're both sitting back here. Markula actually doesn't realize the second guy's there. So Peacemaker is able to confidently get a trade. He can see the top of Peter's off as he's chasing him away. But it's not.
What were they doing in the sight there, though, man? I think they were trying to boost to do like a headshot angle above the default, but it's just... Whew, that was scary. Like, they easily could have both went down there and just made it a 2v2 with B site being taken.
All right, well, OpTic back into the fray now, and as you had mentioned, without taking too many losses there, it's certainly going to be more economically viable. This is looking like a much better buy than what we have had in a lot of these past rounds. NRG, though, built up quite a bit of a bank, so they're also coming back into it with just as strong of a buy and spreading out into a default again, as we have generally come to expect from play on this map. And it's Mixwell getting aggressive here in Squeaky. That actually marks the first shot, takes down Breezy. He just spotted the bomb, too, sitting outside again. Default style of play, so really nothing huge to read off of that just yet. And with that missed shot onto a player inside of A main, he's going to promptly fall back. Look at this from Tarek, though, swinging out through the smoke outside of B. He's also found Fugly, and if he continues to push forward, he is going to realize in a moment that there is no one else pressuring here, and that should give confidence for some of the other OpTic guys around mid and highway here to swing a little bit closer to A.
Yeah, and that's what you want to do if you're playing with a stand-in. They tried playing more default-centric in the start, and then... after losing that second round, it's been pretty downhill for OpTic since then. And now look what happens. Like, they pushed 3B the round before. Even though they didn't execute it very well, it still ended up working. Now they push door and get a kill. Tarek gets aggro at B and takes out Fugly. And all of a sudden, stand-in or not, you're 3 versus 5, you're 4 versus 5. You're in situations where you could, have that stand-in play in a spot where he's almost always going to get 1 kill and then play off of that.
Well, NRG will go through with A. The odd thing, though, is that up until right now, obviously, when Tarek pushed all the way through, they had put extra players in the B-bomb site. So it's up to Rush here, but he does make big impact, and Naf is going to finish the job peeking out from the site itself. A bit risky, considering that a lot of them had gone off site, but thankfully the 2 that were left in A managed to handle the last 3 on NRG's side very nicely.
Great shot by Mixwell there onto Breeze, just right through that crack. And good job by Rush. You see he dodged that flash very well, and now NRG doesn't have a lot of money, just gonna have pistols and a few flashbangs. And Naf reads the economic situation. He's gonna have an ump, so they're gonna look to start coming back into this half and stringing around a few rounds together here. Just gonna be a beat pop through this smoke for NRG.
Yeah, they'll push together, but OpTic already have 2 close to the site ready for the tournament. Nobody checks and checkers, so this is easy days for Tarek here. 3 kills. He does get finally dinked down to 7, and we're going to see Professor Chaos leaping through. He even gets a second one, too, countering out Nav, which could go for a quick drop in
armor and an M4 and a Molotov.
So big upgrades for him. The Molly, as you can hear it now, is going to go over here towards Heaven. It's a little bit forward, but it's still enough, and that's actually a great smoke for Mixwell, as it still lets him peek outside. Trying to tag the plant through it. It's a little bit off the mark. It's not really going to hit Professor Chaos for that much, but pushing forward, Peter for that much, but pushing forward, Professor Chaos now finds a 3rd kill. Somehow, what was just a P250 round has turned into one that they're almost certainly going to win unless Mixwell comes out huge. He's got himself down below in the simple spot, but now he's cornered. He's got nowhere to run. Professor Chaos is still sitting safely inside. He's expecting it from Team Main. If he peeks the other way, he's dead. And with all that distraction, Peters is able to freely peek from the site and finish him off. Somehow NRG have pieced that together, and now they're back in control once again.
Yeah, and I think Professor Chaos might be a little bit of the better coach when it comes to actually playing in matches. But the real kill that mattered so much there was not necessarily Professor Chaos on Tarek, but it was also him killing the Vents guy. And then PTR has nothing. He has no armor. He just has $300, and he actually takes out Peacemaker in the site. So now all of a sudden that opens up the site. Professor Chaos kills that Vent guy, and it's a 2v2 where he's able to get bombed down for Professor Chaos. So, I don't know, man. That's just, you got to get that kill on that P250 guy running at you, in the site. And Tarek kills the other 3. It should be pretty easy kill.
OpTic with a bit of a strange force into this one. 2 upgraded pistols and double up setup. Breezy just making a mess of them. He's the entry king right now. Naf and Mixel both go down. Professor Chaos now adding another kill. This is it. Peacemaker and Tarek were fully committed to B, so that's the save already.
And NRG is, you know, they've won 2 rounds. Yeah, but they've won 2 rounds that they had no business winning. Well, I mean, the second round force buy, you know, you could make a case for that, right? But even then, obviously, you favor OpTic heavily in that round. But then that round that they won, when they just had P250s, like 2 flashbangs, and 1 guy had half armor, I think. I mean, you have no business winning that round. You know, it's just not something that should happen. So when you have that happen to you and you're OpTic, usually it's a way worse half than they have right here. I mean, 4 to 8, you know, with these circumstances, under these circumstances, is like a blessing for OpTic. Generally, if you see that happen, it might be 2 to 10 or you know, something like that at this point.
Well, OpTic do get to, by virtue of that, stay in the game for a little bit longer here. Unfortunately, money is a big problem for them yet again due to the force they just went for in the last round there.
Great shots by Breezy.
Yeah, I mean,
he's an animal. Like he's so good aim-wise and just taking his time, especially like with his deagle. He's very, very crisp, very under control, and really just he aims like a little bit of a different way than most people.
We've been seeing him really dominate the playing field when it comes to entries on both sites there. He's nearly double the scoreline in terms of kills of his next teammate down. He's at 15. I think the next guy down is at 8 right now. So definitely showing up. Now, getting back into this round, though, and what is, except for those that saved, going to be a very light ball round. Mixwell has armor in there as well. So he is going to be able to carry that to work with here, but nothing else with it, which is going to be a little bit strange. Tarek finding that shot. He kills Breezy. I think he hits Marky partially as well. He does get a lot of damage taken from that, though. 1 HP. And the rest of NRG, well, after that happens, they're going to pull back from the white box pressure they were holding a second ago and do try to send this over towards the vents instead. Professor Chaos having control of checkers, looking for his own way out. The CT's rotating in very quickly, so they actually do need to kind of move for control here kind of fast, as otherwise they're going to be swarmed within just a few moments. Rush is already ready at the vents to go back in, but actually a smoke is going to stop that from happening. Good reads from NRG again here to block that back off. Peter getting a bit aggressive here, checking for the sunroom, but it works out. He's able to sink the shot onto Naf, taking him down. Professor Chaos finding Mixwell back over there at Heaven, I believe, is where they eliminate him. And Rush waiting here. He actually might be able to grab Fugly. We can see he spotted them somewhere in there, but Fugly gets the better response. Obviously, with the AK there, has a much easier time.
Yeah, but only with 20 HP. That was a pretty dangerous move by him, but it's so weird to me. I wonder how that works when the smoke dissipates. You know, it's just like sometimes the other player sees you before you see them. You know, I have no idea why though. It just seems so random to me. It's just like if one person's on the other side of the smoke and this person on the other side of the smoke, it's just, I don't know what triggers it that one side sees better than the other.
Yeah. Well, if you're inside the smoke, doesn't it like treat you a lot more harshly in terms of restricting your vision than if you're like kind of standing on the outskirts of it?
I don't know. I'd assume so, but didn't seem so there, right? Fugly was right inside the smoke, and Rush was on the outskirts. So, and he definitely saw Rush before him.
So that will put us up to a 9-4 scoreline heading into these last.
Actually, Rush started shooting first, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if he saw him because the smoke was like fully blown.
You know, he was the energy guy that was trying to fight that was inside of the vents, like fully in the smoke.
Yeah,
So, and it hadn't even started to fade until he like a second or two after he killed him. So maybe he just manages to get his crosshair over him to get that. You know, when you go over someone and you hold it there for like a second or two, their name shows up. Maybe he managed to spot him.
Yeah, I think so. I think Rush kind of just read that he was there. But anyways, NRG in a default. Marky on the boost, so we'll probably see Marky throw a Z smoke from there and maybe Molotov Highway. So here comes the Z smoke, and they're going to do a mid control off of this. Here comes the Molly sandbags, the flashes towards Highway and middle, and they run out of the boost. So they have control right away, and without, you know, using too much. But they don't have any smokes besides the smoke on PTR right now, so we'll see what they opt for. Looks like they're going to do an A-split through Highway. Professor Chaos running back probably to A main to meet up with the bomb. So 2 Highway, 1 door to A main, but A main control is taken by OpTic.
Professor Chaos trying to sneak back in here, but Rush is waiting for it. He's going to grab that first kill. It's a heavy cost, though. He's very low HP, and the second he tries to go in the open, he's down. Not only this, but they found 2 additional kills. beyond trading him out there inside of A main. So, I mean, this is like the third round in a row now, unfortunately, where you're looking at two just completely detached from all the action and are really going to have no choice but to save here. So,
and usually when you have a player A main like that, you're able to spot out what's happening before it happens, and you could, cheat a fourth guy over there and have him maybe flank highway from Z, maybe be white truck earlier than the enemy team expects, and he's able to get, an extra kill on the board, and, you can win the round that way. But for whatever reason, the take comes, Rush gets one kill, but immediately dying at the forklift. That was like the big kill in that round. I believe Breeze was able to get a kill from there, or maybe it was someone else. But that player that died out, when we were watching Rush, that was like the big kill that mattered.
Well, after that, NRG pushing forward now into double digits as we go to our last round and a half, loaded with cash, so they obviously are not going to have any problems at all. But on the OpTic side of things, it's a very scrappy buy, as this has been another issue that we brought up a few times but haven't really highlighted too much, is just how much OpTic has struggled to keep a solid economy going. The utility's fine here, but they only have 2 M4s. There's a UMP on Peacemaker. Mixwell's working with a shotgun, and Tarek has a scout, which he's actually been relatively good with. He's almost always been able to at least tag, 2 players, even get a kill onto one of them before going down. But beyond that is the problem with the UMP and the shotgun sitting on Mixwell, and he's already used all of his utility there to hold off any early mid-aggression.
Yeah, and when they did that split, the 1-2-2, Tarek moved from the forklift to try to help A main when Rush was under fire, but he can't do that. You have to just watch the door, and you know what? Rush, he's probably going to die, right? He's probably going to get traded, but you can't help him. You're still in a good spot. You can kill the door player, and your forklift is very strong against A main as well. So you just can't die. You have to worry about yourself. Rush, he gets 1 kill, he gets an early spot. That's enough. He did his job, Then it's up to the rotator to come and you to hold strong.
Well, the rest of NRG are now pushing their way inside of A main, getting ready to execute outside. There's a big stack from OpTic here, though. They are sort of half-focused on mid, too, though. So it is going to take a second for Mixwell to rotate back. Our Peacemaker's here, so he's certainly going to be able to help contributing. Tarek is going to be the long rotate. He's the scout player. They do both M4s sitting in this site, ready to go. The big guns are here. They're ready to challenge it. But now the utility is going to start to roll. Actually, in a pretty minimal amount. They don't smoke anything, and when they do, it's very late. But look at this. Fugly walks right around. Peacemaker doesn't even realize it. Rush is going to catch Marky getting a little bit overextensive there. Nap also finding 2 here. Still fragging out as well. Up to his 3rd. Finally caught trading on a gun, but there we go. Rush moves in to finish things off. So we see some signs of life from OpTic at the very end of the half, but it is still a long, long road to recovery. We'll see if they can keep themselves on it or if they're going to lose control and swerve into the pit in just a few moments as we continue with the second half.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
Well, welcome back again, folks. Here we're well into our second match of the evening here. The cash trend has continued, and it's 10-5 currently, but not for the team you may expect if you've only been casually following Counter-Strike for the past few months here. It's actually NRG that are up 10-5 here against OpTic, who have been going through many roster struggles and currently have Peacemaker standing in for them in this match.
Yeah, and, 5 rounds, though, I think is enough. I think if they win this pistol, I think they could definitely win this match, but if they lose the pistol, it's going to be very difficult. you know, like I said, whenever you have a stand-in, it's usually a lot easier on the T side to make things work. CT side, though, could be really rough. And you saw, I mean, they rushed into B with that P250, able to kill him and things like that. Quite a few times at B, actually, where I thought he was set up very well for kills. Didn't really perform if you're Peacemaker. And you expect that to happen, right? You expect that. I mean, he's a coach, right? So we'll see what happens in this next half, but I definitely do think that OpTic's going to feel a lot more comfortable on the T side, even if they do have a stand-in.
Okay, it's a very divisive scoreline overall here. It's where things will spiral out of control extremely quickly with, you know, if the NRG take the pistol there and they don't get eco upset in the second round, which actually has been a very common thing that's been happening here in the league, so I wouldn't completely count that out. But assuming NRG get through it and get themselves up to 13-5 right at the start, I mean, it's basically OpTic has to win the gun round and have a huge streak, even have a chance.
I think if OpTic wins it, it's going to be it wins the pistol and can survive that second round. I think it's going to be a very long game. But if they lose the pistol, I think it'll probably be very close, very fast. You know, so I think this pistol, it means everything.
All right, well, again, just waiting for the players to ready up. As you can see that they're getting warmed up there in the server now. As soon as they do send that signal in, we'll get started with it. Hey, what do you know, speak of the devil, and we'll jump right into it there. As we're live on 3, and we should be jumping back into the full screen here in just a second, as these teams will face off, and we'll get to see if OpTic can keep it going here, or if they're going to have to bow down to NRG with a pistol round victory going into their favor. They now jump onto the CT side, and it is OpTic that go on the offense.
Yeah, Peacemaker with smoke, flash. 3 armors on OpTic. I think Nap just forgot to bot. No, he dropped a deagle to Mixwell. That's what he did.
So Mixwell getting himself a bit of a raid boss buy, and it's not going to be him initially boosted up. He's actually the one in A main, and well, that sends Peter back pretty quickly. He was wanting to jump back in there, but changed that decision. However, we do see someone, I think, getting dinked there. It had to be through cover. That was Marky. He's only got 27 HP afterwards, so only tagged a little bit. Mixwell just going to be regrouping with these guys afterwards, though, as they do move back in. It's Peter that tests things, and again, that's very, very aggressive going against the Deagle there, but it works out for him as he gets the better of Mixwell, takes him down, and it's a 5v4 advantage. Do note, though, that both Professor Chaos and Marky both got lit in the process. They're also quite low, but Peter, again, super mobile all over the place here, being a real nuisance to OpTic as he knocks out another player. This time it's Rush going down.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that he's aggroing A main in those situations, but look, he's getting aggressive once again. Because I mean, he still has 72 health.
And he gets another headshot there, maybe potential for one more, but finally meets his end at the hands of Tarek there. With the damage being done, everybody from that B-bomb said he's going to be rotating in a second, and these last 2 from OpTic are still taking their time about things, which is not what they need to do right now. They realize as they are getting close to A main that it's probably going to be a little bit too late to push directly into this site, so they're going to look for mid-control instead with Tarek. I'm sure that Peacemaker will be regrouping with him in a moment here, or he'll just go through the B halls, but nope, out towards mid. Both will go through the vents as he try to dive back in. Breezy is the one to challenge it here, and Breezy has been the big player from NRG, especially when it comes to headshots. So you can expect them to perform here as well. There's one looking for the second, and he's going to sink it. There's Breezy again with a double kill. Peter, of course, getting the big 3K that stopped their initial plan, but it's NRG that take this very important pistol round at the beginning of the half.
Yeah, nice shots by Breeze and Pete, especially over at A main. I mean, that mid-round A main aggression, I'm very surprised by that because Mixwell came and he peeked the A site, and I think he goosed Marky playing right side of site. Kind of falls back a little bit, and he has the player behind the box and Rush too, but Pete just goes in, executes Mixwell, and still runs away. So, like, a position that you think OpTic might be able to punish doesn't get, you know, they just don't punish at all, and Pete wins the round by himself.
Well, this should be interesting here with Rush getting boosted up. There's a little tiny crevasse with which he can try to peek through any players that would be peeking out around the plant position, but nothing in this time. So OpTic aren't really going to be able to find anything off of that nice move there. Thankfully as well, there's no one else close enough at the time for NRG to punish them, but now they're going to push back in. Flashbang's good, but it didn't hit Tarek, so he can defend his teammates. Picks up 2 kills. Marky's only able to trade 1, and well, Professor Chaos makes a big mistake, swinging right into the face of Mixwell. That'll be traded by Breezy, but now Peter, we already saw some good stuff from him, but this time he's only going to be there for 1 kill. Tarek trades it out. Breezy, though, looking at clutch, already finding Naf, and it's the instant headshot rolling onto him. 1 more to go, and it's Tarek who's already been lit. Breezy even knows this too as he chucks the nade back into the corner. Misreading that situation, though, could prove fatal, but look at this, Tarek up on top, and I think Breezy's going to check for it. Is he actually going to check the right side of this balcony, though? Check in the corner, and there you go again, Breezy. Another 3K from him, and NRG will push forward to 12.
Yeah, he must have heard him, I think. I'm not 100% sure if you can get up there silently or not. I think you can if you maybe hold shift on your jumps. Not 100% certain, but he must have heard him because he like hard checked that. Like there was no question in his mind that he was there. You saw he kind of shoulder peeked and then he waited and then he kind of wide peeked and knew exactly where he was. So probably Tarek thought he was a little bit farther away than he was. He probably didn't think that he'd just run up highway quite that fast and got into a really cheeky position. As soon as Tarek was getting there, I thought he was going to win that round actually, but then you know he must have made noise.
All right, well, OpTic do go for the investment right here into this round. And it's only going to leave them with 3 rifles as we take a look at the 2 AKs on Tarek and Rush. They also are one of the few with decent utility here. Tarek kind of iffy there. But Nav having the other one as he downgrades himself to a Tech 9. And Peacemaker gets himself, I think, a donated Tech 9. There's nothing else sitting behind him right now. No armor or anything else, and that's not even his Tech 9 from the looks of it, if that's still correct. Well, Peacemaker, however, without having anything else behind him, still is the one that strikes first. Him and Tarek find that initial kill onto Peter. They'll flood mid, looking for Marky, but Fugly peeking out. No one really checking for Z there, so he is able to dip in, grabbing a kill on Mixwell before the smoke blooms, and now they're going to counter-boost Breezy in to see if they can catch anyone else. He's actually going to see them falling back too, and oh my god! Destroys Tarek and Peacemaker together. There we go. That's the hit to dematerialize. Now they're even going to know that they fell back, so they can get prepped for a B Halls push or a direct A main push as they just line up for sort of an A retake, but still with heavy presence on B.
Yeah, and Breeze, I think he might be pushed up middle on the right, kind of, so they have no fallback out. With 2 inside B, Professor Chaos playing this pretty well, making the commit. I think he overpeaked a little bit there. Had he waited, I think he would have won that round for his team right then and there. But Breeze heard that player fall back, I think. They know it's A right now. He heard Naf falling back. So they're going to beat them there to A main, and I don't think Naf's going to be able to get the bomb down across with 3 HP.
He does have a little bit of time to try and play with this, but actually they catch him there. Marky just destroying him there. As you mentioned, only 3 HP, so 1 bullet was all that was needed. It's NRG up to 13. OpTic already using their investment in that last round here, so they won't be able to do it again, as NRG will have themselves, what should be anyway, an easy ticket up to 14 rounds.
Good recognition from NRG to boost Peacemaker, who was that? Breeze and Professor Chaos boosting him into the vents after that mid-take happens. They did that pretty quickly and with good timing. They're running up highway. OpTic wasn't ready for that at all. And it was perfect timing because they came after that the Z push came from Fugly. He gets that kill, and then, bam, it comes behind him. He gets those 2 kills. It's like perfect timing.
Nade is great too. Look at this from Breezy. He's getting so many kills, fully commits to that spray. There's still 6 bullets left in the chamber. He's going to get a 4th. This is maybe one of the fastest aces ever. Although, unfortunately, Peter is going to steal it from him, so it ends up at a 4K. But there's more lambs to the slaughter for Breezy. Now sitting at 27 and 11 currently.
Whew. Yeah, he is destroying them. Look at how nicely we played that too. We waited until they were kind of in, waited until the pop flash happened, and then bam, pops up. Beautiful spray control. Doesn't waste any bullets.
This is ADR as well right now. Must be off the charts. Well, Tarek is going to be playing him in with a few teammates. Problem is, Breezy may actually challenge that if they attempt to go outside directly here. This will be rough indeed, as Breezy's been shown. Oh no! 1 walks directly into his face. It's 2 more for Breezy. Rush and Tarek both gone down. He hears some more inside of the garage, I think. But all that pressure is going to be fading away. No one else from OpTic will even dare to challenge that. Throws in the Molotov. Mixwell, I think, is on the close left corner here. But yeah, Mixwell, you're not going to find anything. Breezy's long gone from that corner spot. He's now changed. He's just on the other side, granted, but still. Dissipated away. This time, though, he does bite off a little bit more than he can chew, as Nav finally manages to put Breezy down.
Yeah, feeling it a bit too much there. Just trying to go for a highlight play, get as many frags on the board as possible. Gets punished for it, and now Pete at the B site. It was a perfectly timed Molotov to kind of delay that take. Give him a chance to hear if anybody's there. And they should know he's side, though, so it kind of gives away his position a little bit.
Yeah, they will look for smokes over there inside of the tree room, but it doesn't stop Peter from finding the shot. He does try to go out, but Mixwell had already committed to the spray, so Peter just ends up walking directly into that. Professor Chaos goes hunting to try and catch these guys crossing the smoke. It's not going to work out, however. So this is left into a 3v2 retake scenario for NRG. So big problem for Energy is that they're not really going to have a whole lot of utility. One Molotov in this 3v2 though, if that Molotov is well placed, it could almost guarantee them a kill, considering Naf is still sitting back on the site. And we have that now. Again, there's no smokes or anything else to restrict Marky up on top. So waiting for Fugly to get into a better position. Mixwell takes up on spot by Simple though. That Molly is going to go. It's a little bit too deep, so Naf can still hang out here for right now. And Mixwell again in Simple with 1, 2, knocking out Fugly and Professor Chaos. Naf finds the third. Down will go Marky. And OpTic, they do get to win this gun round, and that was their last lifeline as well. So they need to keep it rolling from this point forward almost flawlessly.
Yeah, and you know what? Breeze is usually that B player, kind of put PTR on an island when he decided to just get like super aggressive there. I mean, I know he knew where Mixwell was, but you know, there's no just unnecessary, right? You could just take the 3v5 and go into a different spot. You're able to get away freely, and instead just kind of frag hunted. And I almost guarantee you, if he was alive, they would have won that round.
It's OpTic again, spreading out here. Not really going to be making any decisions anytime soon, although they had been playing rather aggressively in some of these previous rounds. The problem being is Breezy, I think, is pretty much convinced them to put a stop to all of that. And this time he's going to be positioned back into the side of the B-bomb site, but it's a little bit more aggressive than that. He's out behind the box inside of the hall entryway, waiting to see if anyone from OpTic is going to push through, which could be likely, but again, OpTic playing into the default, it is a bit hard to read what they're going to execute into here, as we're still very early on in the round.
Yeah, Naf at a very passive angle in the sunroom. Mixwell getting counter boosted on the white truck. I think they listened to me. You know, looking for that counter boost or highway peak, which is more likely. But now they're just going to kind of group up. Looks like they're going to group up towards A main and maybe scout out A with Molotovs. They definitely know that it's an eco, and this is a great fallback strat whenever people are ecoing.
Yeah, Breezy again, just still waiting patiently there, but we aren't going to see that tested as OpTic are following through with an A play here. Peter's the only one on site to defend it, but he's only got a P250, so rough stuff for him. And also, that flashbang, it does actually connect, excuse me, it goes in. Everybody from the side of OpTic gets blinded, but it doesn't matter. They're still racking up the frags. Fugly trying to push through. It's nothing working out, unfortunately. And OpTic getting near team ace. Tarek getting a second kill for himself, and Peacemaker not finding anything. Nicely done from them, and this is what they needed to try and sustain themselves. If they, haphazardly win a bunch of 1v1s to be able to try and close the gap, their buys are still going to be that iffy, so winning with pretty much all 5 alive is going to be great for them.
Yeah, and NRG is going to probably buy pretty conservatively throughout this half. And, I mean, they had a great T-side, NRG did. And, it was out there without their in-game leader in Daps. So I wonder who's calling for them right now.
Well, since he's taken over the coach role, I would have to be a go-to to assume it's Professor Chaos currently trying to work it out with them. But on this round, OpTic again splitting up into that default, so not a whole lot happening in the first 30 to 40 seconds of the round here as they just try to line themselves up for it. Energy aren't really being aggressive either, so nobody trying to go for anything, but that will change right here, right now, as Tarek goes for a blind peek as well over here inside of the mid-garage and is immediately put down by Peter. There is more, so Peter may have himself a chance in a moment here. Breezy, in the meantime, over there towards that B-bomb site. He is ready for more aggression to come his way, already picking up an additional kill to Naf and putting this into a 5v3 with OpTic still not even, having a good idea about where they want to take this. There's 2 in the B halls with Rush watching out for vents pressure there in the inside of the mid garage itself. So more than likely we'll see this lead into B, but without being able to safely get out towards vents, it'll be very direct and probably, by the way that things have been going in this half, very easy for Breezy along with Peter to shut down within that site. So they grow a little bit wiser than that. They do end up falling back here. And they're just going to go out for mid-control instead, so at least they can have additional vents pressure to try and overwhelm anybody that may be in checkers. But even there, again, you're still going to have to deal with Peter, so that's not going to be looking too bright.
Yeah, and Rush is looking to make a play here. Maybe a B fake, and then Rush is going to walk up highway and hope that he can get frags, and then Mixwell is going to pinch from A main.
As he does move back in here, he spots himself his first kill. Fugly going down, promptly smoking off Z to prevent him from getting flanked. Peter tries to rush up, but it's Mixwell there to cover for him. And now Mixwell even moving through. Jerk reaction time, but he is able to find another kill against Marky as well. So it's down to 2 all of a sudden for Energy. Breezy's in, grabs 1 heavy cost to his own health pool though, as he's now down to just around 20. But still, he re-evens it back up to the 2v2. Professor Chaos, unfortunately, is a long rotate away, so it is going to take a couple of extra seconds to get him in position. And what's even worse is Peacemaker is playing super passive in mid, really leaving a lot of it onto his teammate right now to hold this off, but he's going to push himself right back in, and that's where that works out beautifully. As it takes down Professor Chaos, brings us into the 1v2. Breezy's back on the bomb and in the site, but he doesn't really have anything to work with, and eventually Mixwell's going to swing right back out, finish him off, and allow for OpTic to get up to 7.
That was so well played by OpTic in that 3v5 though. I mean, I thought for sure that round was going to be lost. Fugly just getting a little bit out of position, not spotting. Highway, you know, going back and looking at main, and then Rush gets position on him, takes that kill. Mixwell with a beautiful kill at Gar. And yeah, that was a really well played 3v5 by OpTic.
So NRG back onto another eco here. P250s for most. Professor Chaos not picking up anything except for a flashbang. And Breezy, well, still has himself the Deagle armor buys. I think his cash flow is looking a little bit better, but now he's broken 30. As we should mention, this is only like, I think it's 23 rounds into the match currently. So didn't get that many frags as well, breaking the 30 bomb already. Certainly being the hard carry at this point for NRG to push them through to a victory, should they follow through with that, as this round is going to be a little bit tough to find that impact. But we're seeing just as slow of a pace being taken from OpTic, as they have boosted Tarek over on top. Try and move in for some mid control here that they can use to execute into a site.
Yeah, a full highway stack and Z stack with one player in the A site with a flashbang. So he's going to be able to flash out mid for his teammate who's going to come any second.
Is going to overwhelm two of them at the very least here. Mixwell trying to change up the dynamic a little bit, but missing that second shot. Recorrecting it, though, on his third against Marky. And it brings us back down to an even fray, though. He is surprised a little bit, and oh, he actually misses that shot against Peter. So it gives him the option to be able to take down Mixwell. Now the guys on OpTic are down to 2, and look at this lineup here from Breezy, picking up yet another kill. He won't be able to get the last one as Nap survives right now, but there's a lot more work to be done. He gets himself into this site. He also has to worry about a flank working its way in from Peter. I'm not sure if he's fully aware of the circumstances going in from that one. But Professor Chaos backed the hell out of here. He's gone over there towards mid. Not even going to be challenging at the truck angle. This is still great for Pete if he wants to go out, and especially now that he's got the op. But Naf is actually going to evacuate. Time is a factor here, too. 15 seconds. He needs to stop shift walking in a second and just hightail it over to the B site. So there we go. He will be able to make it in with probably about 5 seconds of excess. So we'll just barely be able to get it onto the site. Oh, he missed the jump, but he still should be good, thankfully. And now it's going to be a long rotation for Pete and Professor Chaos to get back over towards B. So the dynamic shifts again, very slightly, but it has given Naf essentially infinite time to get into the post-plant position of his choosing. NRG are also taking this really slow too. Keep in mind, no one has a kit right now. They need to get back in here if they want to have any attempt of trying to finish off this 2v1 they have in front of them. Naf just sitting back as well, wants to challenge them. They have to go for this immediately. He has them both lined up. Peter will catch the trade. Now it comes down, though. Did he leave himself enough time to defuse this? He did not. So he is going to bail out, and OpTic will put together a 9th.
Wow, that was... oh, man, that was really good by Naf, though. He kind of recognized exactly where those two players are and pushes through CT spawn. Most players would not have the, you know, the recognition of what's happening to do that. That was pretty sick by him. I know he ended up dying, but he's, you know...
Won the round.
Yeah, he won the round, so... But that was a really good job by him, man. That was impressive.
And it continues to delay. NRG getting up to that match point here, so OpTic keeping themselves alive. What's even better is they built up the economy on these last 3 to 4 rounds that they picked up too, so they have no problem going for the full rebuy. They're not, you know, at that breaking point here where they're going to have to sacrifice some of the AKs and go down to UMPs and whatnot. Molotov, they're going fast out A this time. There is a good response. Flashbang and Marky lines himself up a kill. Also decent damage onto some of the other guys in A main too, as they were kind of stacked up in a line there. Now they catch them moving outside of Squeaky here, but there's smoke's covering up everything. It's so tough for either side to be able to spot them out. NRG are getting the better of them right now, but they do give up the site control and let OpTic flood in. They're still waiting for B rotates to get over here in time. Marky actually almost getting caught out there too, but it's Fugly that picks up the next kill this time. Marky still flashed out, is found in the quad position, but Breezy also catching Peacemaker, trying to transition over there towards the forklift. So OpTic just really can't seem to find any consistent fragging power here on this round, and now they're left in a 4v2. Still no bomb plant. The timer's still working against them. They try to tap it now, but they're really cautious of someone working on a flank against them or something like that. So they want to be trying to check for that. As Mixwell goes inside of A main, peeking back out now to look for aggression coming from the truck angle. There's none of that yet. NRG are actually being really quiet here. They try and keep their own positions a bit more of a mystery. Molotov into the backside. We do see Naf swing out from the left side of the big red box, but Fugly will be quick to catch that. Now it all falls to Mixwell. The bomb's not even planted for him either, and they just spotted him. That player back at quad did. So Fugly on the peak finishes off the job. We did have the HE grenade rolling in, but it doesn't do nearly enough damage to pull Breezy off the bomb, and NRG finally get that 15th round.
Yeah, Professor Chaos, I don't even think he has a kill this half, by the way. Right? I mean, it's 0-6, and it resets because he rejoined the server, no?
I would guess so, yeah.
Yeah, and they're still doing great. So, I mean, they played that A take like perfectly. NRG did, you know, to play against that. It was a very scrimmy strat coming out of OpTic. They used their nades to delay. They didn't nobody overextended, if you saw. they would get a kill and just stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, and bring it into a 4v2 when OpTic used every single nade they had to even get the bomb down. Now they go into an A retake, and Marky gets 1-2 kills with guys coming out the door, does another 90 damage to Tarek, and Mixwell just stuck at the forklift. They only have a Molotov and 2 flashes to, not even the Molotov anymore, just 2 flashbangs. So this is going to be another case where, look at NRG. They get the kills, they fall back after they take A, nobody's overextending. They're playing the retake perfectly.
Not necessarily a really big issue with this type of a scoreline, so they're just going to be focused on winning the round. Mixwell tries to get aggressive here, moves out, but only is able to find 1 kill before going down to Breezy, and that leaves Tarek alive with only 10 HP, 9 now after being hit by the Molotov. 6-1 kill, but he can't get the second, and there you have it. It's NRG that pushed through in dominating fashion, specifically at the hands of Breezy there, and they will close out the match 16-9, being the final scoreline.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, Marky and Breezy played, like Marky played those Ape takes like perfectly. Every time he would get a kill, he would stay alive, he would wait for his teammates. OpTic would use every resource they had to actually take the site. And then the retake is easy from that, man. If you still have the Molotovs from those B guys, I'm telling you, you Molotov fork, you're almost guaranteed a kill. You Molotov quad, you're almost guaranteed a kill. Right? It's like there's only so many spots that you could play that actually could have a big impact post-plant, and NRG played that very, very well. That was like textbook on how you want to play Cache in those scenarios.
All right, well, to break down this, thankfully, final Cache map of the evening, we are going to send it over to the analysis desk. Guys, let's talk about this first map.
Well, I guess you could say Cache rules everything around me, except up to this point. Like, that one's a done deal. Yep, there you have it in the books. OpTic NRG, OpTic falling, OpTic falling, like they're actually falling down.
I mean, at this point, they're rolling down a hill. I mean, there's no stopping. That was not pretty, but you know, I'd rather focus on what NRG did right in that sense. I, going into it, thought it would require a big performance from Peter. Instead, we got that from Breeze. He was an absolute monster. I think we actually have some stats for Breeze, actually, just to showcase how absolutely insane he played. But they got what they needed, really. And I think I said it before we went to the game, Cache is going to be their golden chance to actually grab a victory off of OpTic. But with how dominant they looked doing it, who's to say they can't take the second map as well?
I mean, here we do have those stats for Breeze right here, and
that's
yes,
ridiculous.
They speak volumes. How many multi-kills did we see this guy get across the game?
I mean, no, well, here you're going to see a 4K in a couple of seconds as well. It seemed to be pretty much every round, and I guess if you get 35 kills, you've been doing multi-kills pretty much every single round.
You're doing something right, Breeze. That's what we're trying to say here.
Oh, yeah, and it's really cool to see as well, because when we talked about it at the start of the week, he is one of those up-and-coming talents that NA has to offer, and when he's able to do that versus a team like OpTic, even though they do have their issues, it's still impressive, and that's really cool to see.
Well, let's talk about something really cool to see. That's round 9. Let's load that up for you guys at home at this time.
Yeah, so this is a big swing round in round 9, 2-6, as you can see, and this is going to be OpTic trying to get aggressive on a weapon round. And the crazy part here is that NRG are obviously not, without knowing it, perfectly set up to actually deal with that aggression from OpTic, but they still don't get away with an actual favorable trade. And as that happens, Fugly on the other side of the map tries to make something happen. Rush is going to take him out, and it ends up being the swing round going in favor of OpTic, and that would have been the golden opportunity they had to actually get back into the game, because obviously if you let NRG win that, you end up on 2-7. You're going to have to eco. It's just bad times all around. Instead, they had an opportunity to actually force NRG back and also start building up a decent CT side, but they end up messing that up by losing to straight up P250s 2 rounds later.
Now, it's also important to note that both these teams did use a stand-in or coach.
That's true.
Professor Chaos coming out there for NRG, and then Peacemaker over there on the OpTic side.
Yeah. Do you want to see who won the battle?
I'm pretty sure, I mean, it's not about who won the battle, it's about who won the war, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think they went pretty even in the battle.
But I think it's funny to note that Professor Chaos did not get a kill at all in the second half of the game.
And I still think, even with that in mind, I think he still had a higher frag total than Peacemaker.
Yeah, so, I mean, hey, it is what it is. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to train, ladies and gentlemen. It's OpTic and NRG. We'll be right back.